Welcome back to Turkish series Stars, your doorway into the most intimate, surprising, and electric moments shaping Turkish entertainment from the inside out. Before we dive into today's story, make sure you're subscribed, tap that like button, and if you'd like to support what we do, hit join to unlock special content reserved for our community. Now, let's get into the moment everyone's been whispering about. For days, Yağmur Yüksel has been everywhere, trending across timelines, headlining conversations, and turning casual set gossip into a full-blown cultural moment. It isn't just because of her candid recent reflections about her work and personal boundaries, it's because of a scene shot in Istanbul for a new romantic series that has left even seasoned crew members at a loss for words. The sequence that ignited the conversation was a kiss with her co-star, Barış. It was planned, written, rehearsed. And yet, when it happened, the authenticity felt so raw, so unguarded, that many watching wondered if the script had simply stepped aside and let reality take over. The moment unfolded in a meticulously reconstructed cafe inspired by the Galata district, warm amber lights, the clink of cups carefully placed for ambience, and a hush that always seems to settle before a pivotal take. The camera tracked a steady, unhurried approach, their eyes meeting, searching, the kind of look that tells its own story seconds before a word is spoken. Then came that kiss, charged, patient, impossible to ignore. When the director finally called cut, the room didn't snap back into itself right away. For a few beats, there was nothing. No footsteps, no chatter, no rustling of scripts. Just the echo of a moment that felt startlingly true. It was all on the page, but for a second it felt like the page vanished. "We forgot there were lights and cables and marks on the floor," a lighting technician murmured afterward, still a little stunned, still tracing in his mind where performance ended and something else began. And that is precisely what turned a scene into an event. What many viewers don't know is how deliberate, rigorous, and deeply personal the preparation behind that naturalness actually was. In recent months, Yağmur has been collaborating with an internationally respected creative coach who shows up to every single take, not hovering, not interrupting, just quietly present with a notebook and a plan. Together they work through breathwork, focused emotional improvisations, and a character journal that Yağmur has been writing daily, a private record of inner monologues, unspoken fears, and touchstone memories curated to anchor her performance. It's a discipline that lets her enter scenes with a full, living inner world, and in this case, the role's confession-driven romance mirrored conflicts she's spoken about in guarded terms, a subtle overlap that lent the scene its vibrating pulse. On set, though, boundaries held firm. Professionalism didn't bend. As whispers began to swell online, that there must be more between the two stars, the coach's reaction was calm and telling. He clapped once, proud and contained, then stepped close enough to be heard only by her. "Breathe. Stay here. You've got it." A small, steady moment of mentorship. It was approval without intrusion, support without stepping over the invisible line that separates artistry from life. The message was plain: extraordinary work is possible without crossing into the personal. The calm on set didn't last long outside the studio walls. A clip, captured from a control room monitor, slipped into the wild and raced through social platforms in a matter of hours. The angles weren't perfect, the frame was slightly dim, but the energy was unmistakable, and the internet didn't need 4K clarity to fall headfirst into debate. Hashtags erupted almost instantly, #YağmurWyBarış and #KissOnSet surged to the top, and soon thousands of comments lined up on opposite sides. One camp swooned at the chemistry, insisting that kind of connection couldn't be faked. The other camp dug in, praising the discipline it takes to manufacture feelings so convincingly that it steals your breath away. "It felt genuine, but it's crafted with care, that's what great acting does," one viewer wrote, trying to bridge the widening divide. The comment gathered likes at speed, not because it ended the debate but because it articulated what many quietly suspected: the magic might just be method. As the clip multiplied, the principals remained silent. Yağmur has offered no public statement on the uproar, and people close to her circle say that she's immersing herself in the work, steering clear of tabloid frenzies, and protecting her private life as a matter of principle. Barış, equally composed, chose not to fan the flames. All he shared was a still from the set, a dimly lit frame of the cafe, a hint of the fictional world they've been building, with a simple caption, "Stories come to life." No winks, no clues, just an invitation to focus on the craft. Around them, the conversation matured. Critics, columnists, and industry veterans weighed in, and the consensus among those who watched performance for a living leaned in one direction. What we saw was technique at a high level, an alchemy that blends research and instinct until the seams disappear. It's that razor-thin line where art starts to resemble truth so closely that it convinces even the people standing a few feet away holding boom poles and chalking continuity notes. In short, a study in how actors like Yağmur and Barış can pour themselves into characters without surrendering who they are outside the frame. The location played its part too. Galata, even in recreation, carries its own poetry, narrow streets and secret corners, windows that look onto nighttime and memory. The set designers flooded the cafe with tactile details, pencils worn down to nubs next to a receipt pad, the familiar smear of steam on glass, a tabletop polished by countless imaginary elbows. Those small truths fed the big moment, and when the director's voice broke the spell with that crisp cut, it only underscored how completely the room had fallen into the story. Insiders say the scene wasn't achieved in some lightning strike take. It was built brick by brick, repetitions, adjustments, private notes exchanged at the monitor, and a ritual that Yağmur now starts every major scene with 3 counted breaths, a metronome for her focus. The coach, hovering at the edge of the frame, guided both the tightening and the softening, turning layers of intention into something that felt like impulse. It's a paradox actors know well. The more meticulously crafted the moment, the more it looks like spontaneity. None of that stopped the rumor mill. Social media doesn't care for footnotes, and the speed of speculation has a life of its own. A few tabloids hinted at off-screen sparks, but those whispers found little oxygen among people who actually witnessed the work. Crew members describe a set anchored by decorum, marks hit, scenes reset, jokes traded between takes, and always a respect that never tipped into anything else. "I've seen plenty of flirtations," said the same lighting tech, almost amused by the talk, and this wasn't that. This was 2 professionals squeezing everything out of a scene. The more clips surfaced, reaction shots, a second angle catching the lead-in, fleeting behind-the-scenes snippets. The more the online discourse split into sub-conversations. Some analyzed micro-movements, the tilt of a chin, the slow advance of a hand. Others pointed to the narrative arc of the series, arguing that the romance needed a heartbeat you could feel through the screen, and that the scene provided it. A few fans confessed they wanted to believe in something extra because that's part of the pleasure of following a screen couple, the fantasy that blurs just enough to feel possible. Through it all, responsibility remained the quiet headline. The coach stayed out of the fray, his only recorded gesture that measured applause and those whispered words to keep breathing and stay present. He didn't get pulled into interviews, didn't issue statements, didn't let the performance be misread as permission to pry. In a business that sometimes confuses vulnerability with access, that stance mattered. Meanwhile, the show's editors reportedly treated the footage like glass, assembling the scene with careful attention to rhythm, the held look, the step, the hesitation that makes a kiss feel earned. Every cut was measured to preserve what everyone in the room had felt. A few early viewers inside the network called it the kind of moment that anchors a season, the sort of scene people share with friends who don't even follow the series, just to say, "Watch this." And in the conversations that followed, one phrase kept repeating, "Iconic." Not because it was scandalous, but because it was pure. Fans, as always, have the last word. Did you feel the spark of something unscripted between Yağmur and Barış? Or did you witness craftsmanship so precise that it erased the line between stage and life? Was the hush in that cafe a reaction to romance? Or to a performance that nailed exactly what it set out to do? Let us know what you think, and tell us which other stars you want us to spotlight next. Your comments shape the stories we chase, the behind-the-scenes doors we knock on, and the moments we bring to your screen. Here at Turkish Series Stars, We're grateful you join us for these deep dives into the artistry, rumors, and realities of Turkish showbiz. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and if you're ready to take the next step and support us directly, click the join button for exclusive extras, early peeks, and members-only breakdowns. We'll be back soon with fresh revelations from sets across Istanbul and beyond, bringing you closer to the heat of the lights, the quiet of the takes, and the unforgettable seconds when stories come to life.